Okay, so we pulled the card for the card reader, and it's interesting that the same day I pulled this card yesterday, and it's been sitting on the table all evening, and I've had time to meditate on it. Before I pulled this card, the day before, I was considering mentioning on the White Feather Tarot card reading website, I was considering putting a comment on there and saying, hoping that she would read the comment. She gets many comments, and so I'm not sure whether she reads the comments, because I felt it would have been important for her to see what was going on with this card. She would be interested in this website of me doing these cards, creating a new set of cards in this very moment. And so I didn't do it. I didn't actually put the comment. And so then I got the card reader card, and so as a result of getting this card, I'm actually going to put a comment. The fact that I got this card, I didn't just pick it up and do it. I actually got it a day in advance and had time to meditate upon it. And so the card reader, this is what this lady does, this White Feather Tarot. And all of you should do card readings for yourselves. And there's a time on the journey of salvation, there's a time when you become the card reader. The card reader is an archetype. It's a person who has a set of cards. Some have more than one set. It's not necessary to have many. So you have to have the right set. You have to be called to a certain set of cards. The cards that I mostly use, that I was called to, was it was called the Celtic Wisdom Deck many years ago. It's hard, you can't get it now, and if you can get it, it's very expensive. And any deck is the one that you call for is the one that you want, but the card decks are few and far between the good ones. And if you get a good card deck, you can work with this deck for some time. Now, you'll see on the card, it's got three pathways coming out of the cloud of heaven. And you'll see one of them has become a face. It's become a face, and then there's a spiral coming out of the eye, and it shows that the card reading is coming from the heavens, that the person reading the card is a medium for the reading, and the reading is being presented to you by God. It's God, because God, the only sign of God is the signs that He makes in the world, yeah. And a card reading is a very complex sign that God can create for a person, so that they can intuitively find what's coming on the way. A person who is on the pathway to salvation is on what's called the Great Way. The Great Way, we have the Great Chain of Being, and then we have the Great Way of Being. The Great Chain of Being are the steps that lead a person from damnation back up to God through many levels. And the Great Way of Being is how we walk, We find our way along the staircase, if you like. And there are moments in our life on the staircase where we need a little bit of help from the heavens. We need a kind of a sign to guide our footsteps, if you like. And perhaps to point us at something we need to know about ourselves, something that we might be missing, some aspect of ourselves that we might improve upon. And so the cards lay themselves out, and the way I do cards, I think I showed you, because there's a danger of these cards sticking together, and because they're just homemade cards, that what I do is I do the cards by division and by eliminating all the wrong cards. Okay, so I'm only left finally with the last card, and then when I divide the pack in half the pack goes, I discard, and half the pack I keep, and which hand does the discarding is up to the hand, it's not up to me. And so if you can get yourself into a position where the hands can just move by themselves, then this is a good way of training, I suppose, for this kind of process, so that you feel at the end of the day that you've got a card that you haven't chosen, that it's just come to you, and you have to feel that, because it's important that you understand the process is not connected to your premeditation. Okay, to think in advance and do something, to premeditate, to do something, say, I will pick this camera up now and do it. No, to find oneself's hand moving and the camera, simply to do it on the way, the great way. That's how the cards have to lay themselves out. Now you can do it with a book, okay, and it's more difficult with a book. I used to do it with the I Ching quite a bit. The I Ching is a fantastic thing. If you can get cards for the I Ching, yeah, it's very good. I just used to do the I Ching because what you can do with the I Ching, you can just, but you have to close your eyes and do this, because you don't want to see where you are, and you kind of got to divide the book, and then you've got to kind of, you know, you can do it this way, and then you can go this, okay. The superior man delivers himself, because inferior men then retreat. Okay. The superior man delivers himself, because inferior men then retreat. You get a little bit of wisdom from the I Ching. It's harder to do that way, but you can, doing it that way, you can get a specific paragraph. Whereas doing the card reading from a card, it just gives you an hexagram. Now if you want a specific message, you can do it that way. But if you want a hexagram, then you can use a card. Get the card to tell you which hexagram by dividing the pack like I showed you, and then look it up in the book. Okay, you can do it with the Bible too. A lot of people do it with the Bible. Do it with any book, really. Okay. I'm going to take 5. Okay, well, I watched that back and I noticed that the video was too light. And so I brought the exposure and the camera down, and you can see it's a bit darker now, alright? And so there's the darker side to card reading, okay? And I can remember the first time I got one of these packs, I started to do readings, and what you can do is you can ask the cards questions. This is what the baby readers do. What they say, let's ask the cards a question about my future. That's the worst thing you can do. Should I do this or should I not do this? This is a very terrible thing to do, and so you'll probably say, oh no, I do that all the time. And you know, you could do it. I'll say you could do it once, right? And you can get a little bit of advice on something that's coming up in your life. I mean, it's possible to do that, yeah. But the danger is that you can do it over and over again. And tell me a bit more, you know. And when I got these new cards, first time I got the cards, I did this. I spent the whole evening doing card reading and different subjects and different things, and in the end, I just kept pulling the same card. It was the devil card, over and over again. The devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. And I bet the white feather tarot lady's done the same thing. She'd probably laugh at me to do this, because, you know, you have to learn about the cards. The cards can teach you about the cards. And when that Jung fella, Carl Jung is it, when he first came across the Book of Changes, the I Ching, he asked the I Ching to explain itself. It's quite a good thing to do actually. And then so he did a reading and got a reading. The I Ching explained himself, you know, using readings. It's remarkable really, and I mean, there must be a scientific basis to it. And I don't know what that scientific basis is, but there is a law in the universe that says you always get what you need. Okay? And then there's another thing that I think Jesus said. Jesus said, your Father knows what you need before you ask. Okay? And so asking the cards questions is like praying to God. It's something you shouldn't really do. Yeah? Or tell God what to do. You're not really telling God what to do, like somebody is in prayer, oh please save the Palestinians and all this sort of nonsense. Okay. So there are dangers to card reading. This is the perfect way of doing it, and then there's some temptations in card reading. Right. One of the temptations here is money. Okay. You can do this for money. Yeah. Now you'll see that the money line here is included in the yellow bit. Okay, so you can get paid money for card reading, but you should never ask. You should never ask for anything. You should only, and you should never turn anything away. So if somebody offers you money for doing a card reading, you should take it. Say thank you very much. If you need it. If you don't need it, take it anyway and give it to somebody who does. Yeah. Okay. So that's the money aspect. You shouldn't ever ask it. You shouldn't be doing advertising for hair care products on your card reading website. I'm sorry I have to laugh at this. People think that this is a kind of a spiritual pathway, you know. And it's not. And then the other aspect, the one that's really a big no-no, is the fame. You don't want to be doing cards to become a famous card reader. This is not what you really want to do. Okay. You should be doing a card reading because you're called to do it. You see it says calling in the it's coming out of the eye, the spiral coming out of the eye. Spiral is a symbol of creation. Positive spiral, negative spiral, symbol of destruction. One goes one way, one goes the other way, right? This is a positive spiral of creation. It's coming out of the eye. Adam, eye of light. Now, okay. All right. Now I want to get back to the cards now, because this lady White Feather Tarot has a really good way of doing it I haven't seen anybody do before, and that is she uses crystals to do the cards. And I've noticed an interesting phenomenon with her card readings and her crystals. I don't know whether anybody else has noticed or even she has noticed. And I'll tell you now, because what she does is she puts 3 sets of cards down here, 3 different readings, and then she puts a crystal against each reading. And when she goes through the crystals, she doesn't just say now pick a reading. She picks a crystal up and holds it for some moments. Now she's holding it as long as the Great Way keeps her on that crystal before she puts it down. Okay, so now when she's holding that crystal, I can get a strong message. Okay, now you can get a strong message by words coming to your mind. Okay, so she can be holding the crystal and my mind is completely blank. Silence, complete silence, no movement, no nothing. I'm just looking at the crystal over the internet. Okay, she puts that one down. Then she pulls the next one up. Might be the same thing. Nothing. And she puts it down. She holds the next up. Might be the same thing. Might be nothing. Nothing. I say, okay, this card reading isn't for me. Goodbye. That's the end of it. All right. But if she picks one of them up, and suddenly a voice says to me, Adam, something like that, or for you, or something, then I know that that's my reading. Okay. And if it says, Adam, eye of light, that I know that it's my reading and my lady's reading as a couple, because Adam, eye of light is the name of a couple, and Adam is my name. And my lady's name is Elizabeth, but, you know, we are, as a couple, we are Adam, eye of light. And so, normally I get, it says, the stone will say to me, Adam, eye of light. And I know that this is for my lady, and I can share the reading with my lady, who I don't live with. She lives far away. Okay. It's an interesting phenomenon. So having picked your card, pack, or whatever that you're going to get the reading from, then you fast forward to that place and then can listen to your reading. Now, you might at some time during that reading, the reading might go too far, okay? And so whilst you're watching the reading, it might say, you might hear the word, that's enough, something like that. And you just shut it off. Because sometimes a card reader can go too far, you know. You can always say, oh, let's get some more information on this, let's get some more information. Sometimes you can just ask too much, okay? And the White Feather Tarot is very good at that. That normally she asks just enough, but often the last bit is too much. Yeah, it's better not to ask that much. Okay, and so there's a point at which you can overstep the mark with inquiring from the heavens on behalf of somebody. Right? I think that's enough. I think you get the idea of the card reading. Right. I'll give it 5 and I might have something else to say. If I don't come back, I don't come back. Okay? I made a cup of coffee, and there's something I would like to say. And that is how I came to do these cards. I started these cards a long time ago, okay? And I just put them away. And that's the end of it, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of it. But I do remember saying that I would do some videos about these. But I have to feel like doing something to do something. It has to come out of me. And so these are all just hidden away, been hidden away probably for a year. And I am subscribed to the White Feather Tarot channel and her videos come through by feed, and normally I just let them go. I have to be called to a video. I say, oh yeah, White Feather Tarot, not for me, not for me, not for me. And perhaps I visit the White Feather Tarot and get a personal reading once, twice, 4 times maybe a year, 4 times a year probably, something like that, 4 times a year. And they're always profound. I can see she's also thinks they're profound too when she gets a reading with me. I know we're connected, yeah, somewhere in the heavens. I know that there's. She's a very fine lady, and doing a good job for the children of the future, hopefully. And her readings can be there forever. You could use her readings 300 years time, they might use her readings, who knows? They're there on the internet forever. They're kind of timeless things really, these card readings. So, anyway, the reading that I got, I saw in my feed some days ago, and I got a message, yeah, get the reading. So I went to the site, I got the reading, got the right stone, pack in the middle, and the reading was interesting reading. It said basically that my work is going to expand, and I'm going to get rewarded for this, and I'm going to get more people going to be coming to this, okay. And so I said, oh yeah, this is interesting. And then I slept on this, and the next day I got up and I just found these cards, and I started to cut them up, and then a little bit at a time it came to me what I had to do. And the first card I picked out of the pack, came up on top after I cut them all up, was Guild Master. The Guild Master. The Guild Master is the person in charge of a guild, and a guild is a calling, and my guild is a guild of philosophers, and that's really the highest guild. You know, you can have the guild of automotive mechanics, and, you know, the guild of skateboarders, the guild of surfers, yeah, the guild of so on and so forth. The experts at the art of whatever it is that they're doing, and the art that I'm the master of is philosophy, which is the pathway from damnation to salvation. Okay? And so I decide to do these cards, and it's funny, the first one comes up and I do, but the first reading I did about the Guildmaster, I didn't even know I was doing it. I just talked about the pathway of salvation. It was just a postscript to some videos I'd been making previously about AI and the relationship of AI to God, how they're opposites. Okay. And so I'd already done the reading of the Guildmaster when I started to do the pack, to go through all the cards. I'd already done one without realizing it. And so at the beginning of the first video I did, I put the Guild Master card in, and then I did card number 2, which I think was Vision. Okay, and this went at the front of the video, and when I played the video back, it came up, the cards of Adamai of Light, Guild Master, and then Vision. Okay, and so I was called to leave it like that because it was like a title. In the act of making these cards, I have become the Guild Master of a guild, a new guild of philosophy that is now appearing in the world. Okay, and so I've had, just down the road from me is Ludlow, and I found this in the street the other day. This is a very rare book. It's called The Guildhall Ludlow. And this is the greatest, oldest surviving guild hall in the world, really. And it was disguised as a building, a shell of another building was put on top of it, and a roof put on top of it. And the whole original roof, the whole original building is inside the building. They somehow preserved it like this, without realizing what they were doing. They were just kind of like protecting, keeping the building going from falling down. And so they preserved the oldest guild hall in the world, really. And it's just down the road. It's very close to Bromyard here. It's probably one of the closest places to us here. And Bromyard is the place where the Druids met Augustine St. Augustine, and he sat here and met with them. And that was the end, if you like, of the Druids, and the beginning of Christianity, the fake Christianity, kind of Christianity that came to Britain after Celtic Christianity, which was Druidic. It was the evolution of the Druidic spirituality. And so we're kind of in the middle of it all here in Bromyard. I was brought to Bromyard. I didn't choose to come to Bromyard. I said, put me wherever you think I should be. So they put me in Bromyard. They gave me this little house, which is my guild hall. And so I've become the guild master. It's a step on the great chain of being. And the fruit of this is these cards. The cards of Adamai of Light. And so it's been a long time coming. Yet I hope it helps somebody in the future. And it doesn't have to be the people who are watching it now. These videos are gone up onto the internet forever. Hopefully that one day there's only going to be AI content, and so the original content that was actually created by human beings is going to be more valuable, and hopefully Google won't delete these important videos. And I don't keep copies of them. They're all gone, although I have noticed that I'm starting to keep copies of these videos. All my other videos I've just left. These videos I've started to keep on my computer because there's only a limited amount of space which one can have to store videos before everything just becomes filled up. So it's my job to teach people the philosophy of life, the pathway from damnation to salvation. And the purpose of the guild is that, really. And it's the beginning of a new iteration of the Church of God, the Holy Catholic Church, you might call it. Holy means whole, complete, not divided. Catholic means universal. And church means that which God created. And so it's not supposed to be anything to do with man. I'm just a little servant of God. And I'm supposed to pass on what I know somehow. Personally, it's better to do it personally, to talk, so there's no confusion about what it was that I said. If it's written down, people can become confused. And so it's the best way to transmit knowledge orally. And so that's what I'm doing. And I hope you will join me if you're called. If you're called, if you've got this far into the video, you're certainly called to take part in what's going on here, which is the redemption of humanity, really, because unless humanity has a pathway to salvation, it's lost. And this pathway needs to be recreated from generation to generation. Now, the person that made me wasn't Jesus of Nazareth 2,000 years ago, although I did study his works. The most important person in my life, as far as my resurrection and journey back to God, was Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti was sent, and some said, this is the Messiah. Even when he was just a child, like the Dalai Lama, they chose him to say, this man is going to be the Messiah, and teach the people the pathway back to God. And he did, because having listened to his talks, I found myself back in reality. I didn't save myself, yet his words helped me get there. Okay. How you go after that? Well, you can study all of the ancients. Jesus of Nazareth said, follow the will of God, not your own will. And so you can start doing that. And then Buddha says, desire leads to suffering. And so you can start not desiring anything and find out what happens to you then. And I sat for 6 months, did nothing, just messed around at home before I ever walked out of the house, found myself. I said, I'm not going to do anything except some greater will than mine moves me. And I didn't do anything for 6 months. Suddenly my legs moved and I stood up and I walked over and I turned the camera off. Thanks for watching. Well, I watched that back, and as you can see, it can be quite scary to just live your life like you don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah, it's marvelous actually. And so there's a journey to this. The reason I restarted this video at the end was because I watched back the video and I realized that I wanted to say something and I left it out about these crystals, okay? Because crystals are very, very, very special objects, and there's probably a card about crystals. But this is just a by the way about crystals because something I noticed. And one of the things that has happened to me whilst I watched the cards of the White Feather Tarot is that I said sometimes there's just silence and stillness and no words come, so I know that that stone is not for me. Yet there's another effect that can happen, and it did happen this time when I got the reading from the White Feather Tarot just a few days ago, before I started these cards. And that is that when she's holding that's a purification. When you're coughing it out of you, you get something out of you, the coughing, the purification. What can happen is she's holding the stone. Instead of me getting some words, I can get a kind of a heart cough out something. Purification process can happen to me through the stone that she's holding at the time she's holding it. Not always, but sometimes. And that's kind of like a key to the next step on the Great Chain of Being. She's giving you a key there. So she's also the key master. Now, before I started this video, I heard my phone go ping. Okay, that's my lady. I know it's my lady because this is the only person who sends me messages. So I'm going to have a look, see what that message says now. Okay. Okay. Now the lady is like the muse. The lady says not a lot of words, but her words are much more important, significant. She's like the pythoness that's on the tripod of Delphi. Okay, I'm going to read you what the message says. It says, now the Swiss demon is out. I just did this coughing right there. On the table. The Swiss investigative journalist said, Trump got a creative solution, exclamation mark. Of course, the money is bloody. Money is bloody. No matter, Trump is producing the truth. And what we will see next, there has to come a point, ... I pass this message on to you. It's very interesting what's going on in the world. Trump is a truth maker. Everything, he seems to be bumbling around, but he's getting the truth out, and the truth is what sets you free. And humanity needs the truth, my God, because there's nothing but lies in the world of hard knocks. And thank goodness you're all out of it on the pathway to salvation, because it can just be an amusing play that you're watching, and you don't have to play the part of the executioner or the part of the executed if you're watching the play from this point, from the pathway of salvation, from a good step on the Great Chain of Being. I'll leave you on that note. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a nice lady who can be your muse, your Sophia, your source of divine wisdom. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to pull the next card now for the next video, just so that we can see what's coming. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get the reading for the next card. Thanks for watching.